Darker mode with no retreat. Failures never taste the sweet. Science lessons learned in flight. Journey on through endless night. For the stars, we aim so high. The projected kiss goodbye. For science and purple light, we'll keep flying through the light. Rocket launch with hope so grand. EJ's got the master plan. Thrusters burn to reach the moon. In his eye you see the tune. Orbit dreams won't be delayed. Lessons learned from missions made. Kerbal Kai will forge a path to the stars beyond this path. For the stars, we aim so high. The projected kiss goodbye. For science and purple light, we'll keep flying through the light. Rocket launch with hope so grand. EJ's got the master plan. Thrusters burn to reach the moon. In his eye you see the tune. Keep flying through the light.
Okay, welcome to the Space and Rocket Review. Space and Rocket Review. YouTube chats. Tell your friends. Space and Rocket Review. What's going on, everybody? Man, feels like we haven't done a space news in forever. But don't worry, I have a plethora of information for you over the past week. The last time I did a space news was last Wednesday. Actually, a week ago. Well, almost a week ago. It's Tuesday. It's the 15th. If you're watching this in the past. Or in the future. Or in the... Does that mean I'm in the past? Hi, future. Hey, how you doing? Everything good? Yeah? No? It gets better. Don't worry about it. Anyway. So. Let's get going. Let's get started, shall we? We got a lot to cover. So, let's jump right in. First thing, we had a liftoff this morning of the NS-31 mission. New Shepard. I can't listen to that because it will mute the YouTube VOD. So, you know, New Shepard took off. This was another, it's a suborbital flight with the New Shepard rocket. This was launching the first all-female crew on New Shepard. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. They were using tail number 5. Tail number 5 on its third flight on a 69-day turnaround. Pretty cool. 7 on board flew to just above the Kármán line. And, yeah, came back down. Everybody seems to be okay. Pretty good. That was yesterday. Sweet. Excellent. Cool. Here, watch this. I don't know what day it is. Blue had some pretty good drone footage. Well, that's pretty neat. Well, that's pretty neat. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It always does that.
Discovery, go at throttle.
It always, New Shepard always does that little course correct to come down in the center of the bullseye. It always does that. But yeah, there you go. Tail number 5 on its 3rd flight. Did I see Jeff Bezos biff it? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he took a digger trying to get to the capsule. But you know, capsule did come down here. Take a look. I can't listen to the music there. There we go. Yeah, Jeff was walking around the capsule. It looks like he took a spill because he walked into one of these like ditches here. But there you go. I said it was today. This is yesterday because I don't know what day it is. But there you go. Pretty good. How hard is the landing? Low speed fender bender while walk. So the New Shepard capsule has a retro firing motor. You'll see it. That's what all that dust that gets kicked up, that's what that is right there. See that? That wasn't just the thump from it hitting. There's a little explosive that blows up at the ground, and it provides for like an absolute split second, like less than a split second, it provides a cushion of air. It's a little airbag, and then it decompresses and you're good to go. That actually slows the capsule enough down for touchdown. Yeah, think of an airbag minus the airbag, basically. It's some yeah, it is some Wile E. Coyote stuff. That's what this is right here. Because if you notice, it pops before it hits the ground, but see, all that air just for like a fraction of a second gets trapped under there, and it actually cushions the capsule. It gives you a little bit of a landing cushion. So it smooths out the landing. It's not too bad, dude. Like maybe a little bump like that. It's not bad at all. Cool. So yeah, that was the NS-31 flight. Pretty good stuff. I still like that drone shot. The drone shot of this thing coming in is pretty cool. Tried that in KSP to varying degrees of success. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Well, that was the 31st New Shepard mission. Cool. Now, next, I got some SLS news for you. Little bit of updates here. So check this out. This is coming from NASA EGS. Team Stack Mod 6 onto Mobile Launcher 2. So that's the 6th component to it. This tower module is designed to support the launch vehicle stabilizer mechanism. There you go. That's the Sarin CC8800. Guys, that crane was at Starbase before this job, believe it or not. And then there's a Lever 11,000 right there, I think, next to it. You can see ML2 is coming along, dudes. It's definitely chunky. A little bit more reinforced than previous. I've also noticed, guys, that they're making this mobile launcher in segments, and the segments have all the conduits and plumbing installed. The conduits don't have any wires, but they are all the trays for all the electronics and whatnot, and the plumbing is made on the ground. They did not make ML1 this way. Yeah, they did not make it that way. Interestingly enough. ML1 they stacked the whole tower, and then they outfitted everything. Yeah. Kind of crazy. There you go. See how all the infrastructure's already on it, all the plumbing? Yeah. Each one of these segments, dudes, is 4 stories tall, by the way. Like, look, even the elevator shaft. The elevator shaft is there. Crazy enough. That's wild, dude. Actually, this is a really sweet picture. I kind of want to take a peek in here. What do we got? Anything cool? Yeah. Freaking elevator shaft. Learning from SpaceX. That leaves very little room for errors. Yeah. Guys, you see what I mean about this? This ML is completely... The construction of this mobile launcher is completely different than any ML in the past. This thing has to be lighter, and it has to be stronger than every other mobile launcher. Why does it have to be lighter? It has to be lighter because it's launching the heaviest rocket by mass that NASA has ever attempted to launch. SLS Block 1B will be the heaviest thing that has rolled out of Complex 39. So this thing has to move an assembled rocket, the heaviest assembled rocket that NASA's ever made, when the crawlerway has an upper level of how much weight it can take. So not only does it have to move, it has to balance between the maximum amount of weight that can be moved on the crawlerway and the heaviest rocket ever devised. The reason why SLS is so heavy is because of the solid rocket boosters, just in case anybody was wondering. So this thing has to be simultaneously the lightest ML that NASA has ever made, but it's also the most complicated, right? And it has to be the strongest because it has to hold up a heavy freaking rocket. If you look at how this all goes together, how these segments are gone together, they're using cylindrics.
Discovery,
They're using cylinders instead of the tried and true like I-beams that past mobile launchers have used. This was re-engineered and built in an entirely different way on purpose to be, once again, the lightest and the strongest ML ever devised, which is probably the reason why it ended up costing so much freaking money. SRBs are that heavy versus the Saturn V, eh? Yeah. The 5 segments on the space shuttle is 1.3 million pounds. The ones on SLS are heavier. ML, mobile launcher. This thing. Hey, there's train tracks over there. I like trains. It also has to not tip over into the swap. It's funny, Yannick, that you mentioned that because not a lot of people know that ML1,
go at throttle up.
SLS's current mobile launcher, is actually not up to the task. It is, it bends. The whole thing is bent because SLS is too heavy. That's what happens when you design a mobile launcher for Ares 1, which is like maybe 1.5 million pounds, right? Actually, probably a little bit more than that, like 2 million pounds, right? And then put a rocket that's 8.8 million pounds on the same launcher and then not reinforce anything. Yeah, that's absolutely what happened. The ML1, SLS's first mobile launcher designed to launch the Block 1 version of SLS, was Ares 1's original launcher. Yeah, a much smaller and much lighter vehicle, which is why they needed to refactor the design for ML2. How do the pressure waves interact with the tubular structure? I-beams can't be overpressurized. Tubes can. I don't know. Hopefully they incorporated into it into this thing's $1.3 billion analysis and design price tag. Anyway, LSR, my buddy LSR over at NSF has a little time lapse from Space Coast Live of them lifting this segment and putting it up there. I think they're solid, O10. I think those are If they're not solid steel, they're boxed, or they're enclosed, not boxed. Can't box this. Where does the tube go? That's right, it goes in the square hole. I don't know, Erudite. Yeah, there you go. So they have the next segment up. Pretty cool. Now, in the VAB, on the VAB side of things, the Launch Vehicle Stage Adapter, or LVSA, which mates SLS core stage to the upper stage, has been stacked. Can't play that music either. There you go. There it is. Moving out of the transfer aisle into High Bay 3. There you go. That's the vehicle staging adapter here. Here's some screenshots of that. Take a look. Pretty freaking cool. So once again, the upper stage rides on top of this thing. Ooh, very nice. This, of course, is the Artemis II rocket. The rocket that will send people out of low Earth orbit for the first time since 1972. Pretty good. So the LVSA was last week. This week, teams between ULA and NASA have moved what's supposed to go on top of that thing. The interim cryogenic propulsion stage, the ICPS, which has now been an interim stage for SLS for a better part of a decade.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Was moved from the Delta Operations Center to the VAB for stacking. Why does it take NASA so long to make SLS? No solid plan, Cosmo, is really the thing. They have a plan, but the plan isn't solid. It's not really bold, and it really doesn't encourage a lot of
Discovery, go at throttle up.
innovation or punctuality. What do you think of Roscosmos? They exist. That goes on top of the vehicle staging adapter. So the ICPS has two tanks. There's a hydrogen tank here, and then inside there's a smaller diameter liquid oxygen tank that's hanging from the hydrogen tank, and that has the engine attached to it. So the engine is behind this silver piece right here. The engine, the LOX tank are behind it, and the hydrogen tank is what you see. That's why the launch vehicle staging adapter would attach right here and go down on either side right here. And part of this stage would be hanging inside of it. That's the dock, the Delta Operations Center. Will the added weight of the crew and supplies make the heat shield issues worse on Orion? NASA doesn't seem to think so, Rarest. I have my reservations, but we'll see. Yep. So that's cool. That thing was moved. Guys, that's almost all the pieces. The last thing we need, the last thing that goes on top of this is the Orion staging adapter. And then Orion, the European Service Module and Orion. And then the launch abort system, which actually they build as one piece. So the Orion staging adapter, the European Service Module, the boat tail fairing on the ESM, Orion, and the launch abort system are made as one piece. So there's really only one more thing left to stack this rocket once the ICPS is stacked, which is actually super cool. Hey, progress has been made, guys. This SLS was assembled pretty damn quick. When did they start assembling it? January? Hey, you know, people are going to say 3 months to make one rocket. SpaceX does it in 45 minutes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'll take 3 months for NASA, okay? NASA's pace is not, it's clearly not SpaceX's pace, okay? I'll take 3 months, dude. That's good with me. That's lightning fast compared to Artemis 1, you know? I'm good with it. Artemis 1 was like, they stacked that. It took like a year to stack that thing because it was the first time, so they were going really slow. This is a huge improvement over the last time, man. This is a huge improvement. So if we launch more, it'll get better and better every time. Please launch more. Anyway, so yeah, some really actually good news from SLS for a change. The hardware's coming together, dude. Hardware is coming together. I like it, man. I like it. It's awesome. They clearly took their notes well the first time. What a bunch of nerds. Bunch of nerds, am I right? Don't the SRBs have a shelf life? Mike, yes, they have a shelf life, but I remember that. So that was a topic of contention with Artemis 1, right? The SRBs can only be on there for like a year. They can only be on SLS can only stand up, with the SRB stack for a year before they need to be rechecked. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! What type of fuel do the SRBs use? They use HTPB. Hydroxyl terminated polybutadiene and ammonium perchlorate with aluminum flake. Oh no, this needs to be inspected. Guess what our ICBMs use? They use the same thing and they can sit for 30 years in their silo and not have to worry about it. I think we're fine. Seriously, the solid rocket boosters on SLS use the same fuel as missiles, as ICBMs. Those can sit in a silo for 30 years. I'm pretty sure that was just mouth flapping. It's just mouth flapping. In fact, speaking of ICBMs, I mean, seriously, did anybody not notice that NASA's those SRBs were stacked for more than a year? They bypassed everybody's shelf life and then they launched it and it worked just fine. Anybody notice that? So, speaking of ICBMs, check this out. We have an update from the National Reconnaissance Office and the Space Systems Command. They're scheduled to launch NROL-174 on a Minotaur IV rocket from Vandenberg Space Force Base. This will be the first Minotaur IV to launch from Vandenberg since 2011. Yeah. So, Minotaur IV, guys, is an ICBM with a payload on the top instead of another payload on the top. It's a missile that they just put a satellite on top of instead. Check it out. It is a small-ish sat launcher that it's operated by Northrop Grumman. Minotaur launches are extremely rare in this day and age. 2011, did you cover that launch? That was before I started streaming, O-Force. Yeah, Minotaur goes insanely fast. If you're wondering, that thing boogies. It's made out of ICBMs. In fact, it is a leftover ICBM that's been decommissioned. It is what's left of the Peacekeeper missiles. Yeah, that's what those things are. They're converted Peacekeeper missiles. Sorry, I had to look it up. Yeah, the last Minotaur that launched was L-123, I think. I think it was L-123, or L-129, excuse me. That was a bit ago. Here. Yeah, the 15th of July. This one was from Mid-Atlantic Regional. This was from Wallops. Watch this thing, dudes.
Carrying a classified payload for the National Peacekeeper ICBMs and a commercial solid.
Now watch this. Okay, now watch this launch. All right, what I want you to keep in mind is listen to how quickly the supersonic call comes.
Rocket upper stage.
T-minus 10. T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition.
Bye-bye.
Liftoff of the Northrop Grumman Minotaur rocket carrying 4 L-129 spacecraft to orbit for the National Reconnaissance Office, marking 20 years of Minotaur launches and 14 years of partnership with Wallops Flight Facility and the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport.
Vehicle at
The guy couldn't even finish the launch script and the thing broke the sound barrier. Just here, ready?
1, ignition.
1, 2,
Liftoff of
3,
the Northrop
4,
Grumman Minotaur rocket
5,
carrying
6,
4L-129
7,
spacecraft to orbit
8,
for the National
9,
Reconnaissance Office,
10,
marking
11,
20 years of Minotaur
12,
launches and 14
13,
years of partnership
14,
with
15,
National
16,
Wallops Flight Facility and the
17,
Mid-Atlantic
8,
Regional
18 seconds to go to 768 miles an hour. Or a little over 1,000 kilometers an hour. 18 seconds. That's fast. That's real fast. So this thing is going to launch. One of these are going to launch from Vandenberg tomorrow at 3. Oh, we're watching that. These things are excellent when they go.
Spaceport.
vehicle attitude and flight path are nominal. Pitch over complete.
Check step 92, 93, 94, 95.
Power is nominal. Passing Mach 2.
Yeah, right, Lava? The pitch over was like, you know?
T plus 36 seconds. Entering max Q. Attitude nominal.
Passing Mach 3 at maximum stage 1 thrust of over 5,000 pounds.
Man, that thing hauls, dude. That's fast, dude.
Passing Mach 4. Vehicles
Oh, Mach 4 in about a minute? Okay, all right.
mass.
Cooling off.
Stage 2 ignition. Stage 2 motor pressure is nominal.
Just staging at Mach 5, whatever. The rocket's got the zoomies.
Vehicle
So, like I said, if it goes tomorrow, you guys are in for a treat.
3,
This thing is
2,
cool, man.
1, ignition.
Bye-bye.
Liftoff of the Northrop Grumman Minotaur
30-year-old ICBM technology right there.
rocket carrying 4 L-129 spacecraft to orbit for the National Reconnaissance Office.
Dude, that thing is so fast. Oh, man. Is it a quarter mile fast? I'm pretty sure this could do a quarter mile as fast as a top fuel dragster. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Are we showing off? Well, the mission is a National Reconnaissance Office. An NRO mission. So, I don't know. The last mission, L-129, had 4 satellites on board. I don't know what L-74, L-174 is doing. Like, I don't know what that, I don't know what's going on there. So, get Clay. Yeah, get Clay Milliken out. Yeah, I mean, he might be able to go faster. Maybe. Yeah, the thing's nuts, dude. So the Minotaur IV family is derived from the LGM-118 Peacekeeper ICBM, deployed from 85 to 2005. Minotaur IV utilizes decommissioned Peacekeeper solid rocket motors, which comprise the first 3 stages in all Minotaur IV rockets and derivatives. This relatively simple architecture allows Minotaur to be launched anywhere in the U.S. through the use of mobile launch facilities for when everybody's hungry. Although this capacity has never been needed. Right. 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 Is that the latest and greatest in U.S. ICBMs? No, about 40-year-old ICBM tech. Yeah, about 40. Yeah, Peacekeeper's old. That's old. That's old news. Peacekeeper's from the 80s. Martin Marietta and TRW designed this with Boeing. TRW and Martin Marietta don't exist anymore. Well, Martin Marietta is part of Lockheed Martin. That's what the Martin is. Oh, sweet Jesus. Ugh. Ugh. Whoa. Whoa. The forbidden nose cones. Jesus. One of those things could kill every single person in my state. Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, that's a lot of power. That's a lot of power. Like, one of those things could turn my state into a crater. Yeah, I don't want that. Yeah, it's some canned heat right there. Have you seen the new Endeavor exhibit? Yeah, Blue Benji. I saw it vertical before they built the building around it last time I was in California. Why was there a toilet paper roll on one of them? What, that little guy? I wouldn't worry about that little guy. You know what the first target is, Pay Boss. Yeah. Yeah, each one of those MIRVs has a 335 kiloton W78 warhead. Okay. There's like 9 of them on there. Yeah, let's just keep that canned heat in the can, right? You telling me not to worry is something I wasn't thinking about. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's good. It's good. Yeah. Yeah, those are a thing. Those are things that exist. Oh, the Peacekeeper is this thing. Hold on. I was looking down the wiki page. Hold up. It's that thing. You guys remember that thing? That's the forbidden boxcar. I like trains. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool. What is that? It's the forbidden boxcar. It's funny because they made it look like they made it look like a reefer car, but the dead giveaway is that it has 4 bogies, so it's carrying something super freaking heavy. I don't know, like solid rocket fuel. Look at the weight. Look at the loading weight. 245,000 pounds. Gee, I wonder what's going in that. Yeah. Yeah, the railroad garrison car. It's a launch pad. That is a ICBM launch pad built into a railroad car. The train where you get near and the guard tells you to go away. Yeah. The Peacekeeper could do that. Yeah. Dude, look, there's a flame trench built into the back of the boxcar. Those are words I never thought would come out of my mouth. Can we make this in KSP? Yeah. Oh, they canceled it after the Cold War. Oh, that's lame. Oh, yes. The St. Louis Refrigerator Car Company made it. Sure. Why am I not surprised? And they were often mixed with standard rail traffic consists. Yeah, of course. Of course Rockwell made this. Of course Rockwell made it. That's how you know it's good. That, of course. Somebody needs to tell them it's Cold War 2.0. How do you know we don't have that already? Dude, the best defense, hiding in plain sight, especially when it comes to that kind of stuff. That's the best kind. But is there test launch footage? I don't think so, dudes. I wish Rockwell didn't get bought. Yeah, well, the Soviet Union collapsing had a lot to do with that. B-1 XB-70 shuttle. Yeah, they're pretty good, man. They're pretty good. Pretty good. Can you imagine a better way to eat up Soviet satellite time than having to watch every single train in the States? Yeah, they put it in with mixed consist. Yeah, and they just made it, look like a reefer car. You're not going to be able to tell it has 4 bogies from the sky. Probably still couldn't tell, to be honest with you. It's smart. It's a smart way to do that. But yeah, going back to it, SLS is using the same fuel as these, HTPB. Hydroxyl terminated polybutadiene. That's, so believe it or not, you know, SLS, everybody says, oh, SLS boosters have a shelf life. No, it's fine. Believe me, it's fine. It's fine. It's really not an issue. Rockwell was like the skunk works of rockets. Yeah. Can I post a link to the test of the train? Sure. Dude, I love the Cold War DoD stuff. They came up with the coolest things. It's like, all right. Like, that's what's up. Okay, that's what's up. Like, it always is cool, like, hide in plain sight stuff. We can't listen to that. Operation Acoustic Kitty is your favorite stupid Cold War thing? I don't know about that one, Hazanku. My favorite's Project Azorian, just because Azorian is just... Sane people don't come up with stuff like that. Bob, yeah, maybe. Oh, sick! What are those, GP-38s? CIA spent a ton of money to surgically mic a cat to spy on the Soviets. The cat got hit by a taxi crossing the street. Oh, no! Not funny, but it is. That's so screwed up. The whole spending a lot of money on that for the cat to die is funny. The cat dying is not funny. That's not funny at all. But what is Project Azorian? Project Azorian was a boat that had a gigantic claw built into the underside that could deploy and pick up sunken submarines. Didn't even get a sumptuous award. Oh, no. Okay. Holy shnikes. Holy shnikes. Oh! Oh! Whoa! Bro! Oh, that's crazy. Oh my goodness. What the heck? What is this? What is this? Is it on? What is that? The generator? Oh, yeah. Holy crap, that's ridiculous, dude. That's actually super impressive. Dude, there's rails inside of your railroad car. What's up, dog? We heard you like trains, so we put a train inside of your train car so you can launch rockets while you train. Dude, that is an extremely quick vertication of a rocket. That's fast. Lots of smoke from a generator. Make it in KSP. The dark stuff might get you noticed. Yeah. Oh, come on. Yeet! Oh, they didn't launch one from it? They didn't launch it? Oh! Oh, come on! Yeet! Oh! 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 It was right there! Come on! No! Ah, well, that's not fun. I think that was just a mass simulator. When I heard about the insane variation of missile systems in the U.S., you thought of this clip.
Under here, I got me a Nissan, got me a Honda, got me a Humvee under here, got me a Mitsubishi in my butt creek.
I don't... But, I mean, that's funny, but... Alright, okay. Mitsubishi, the Mitsubishi. Yeah, that's... Okay, we are now moving on to the next bit of news. NASA's Launch Services Program has moved the habitation and logistics outpost for the Gateway. It was on the move from Thales Alenia in Italy. The pressure vessel for the Halo outpost has been made. And it is being integrated with Gateway's power and propulsion element at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It will undergo final outfitting at Northrop Grumman's Gilbert facility. Okay, so it's going to Arizona first, and then it's going down to the Cape. So apparently it may have used a pneumatic charge to kick it free of its launch silo. Yeah, what do you think the generator's for? The generator's building up pneumatic pressure inside the tube. You wouldn't want to keep that thing pressurized driving around, Creation. What if it leaks and then it doesn't work? Don't do that. It's like how you shouldn't just have compressed air in your air compressor. You should decompress every time so you don't get water inside. It's all about the tubes, dude. The top thumbnail before you closed YouTube was the Peacekeeper rare. Oh, yonks. So this is the MX Peacekeeper. So this is what came. Yeah, the MX is a variation of Minotaur. The MX is.
Good morning. This is the NASA Wildlife Flight Facility coverage of the launch of Northrop Grumman's Minotaur IV rocket.
Oh, you unpaused that video too. Okay, cool. What truck was that? I don't know. Cab over. Nice truck right there. Yeah, the MX Peacekeeper is like yeah, that was the last like crazy variation of missile before the Cold War ended. MX was nuts, dude. Like B2 levels of ridiculousness. Watch. I love trucks, Frank Cam. Love them. What? You sure you want to stand there? Or... Okay. What? That's a trailer. That's a trailer. That is a trailer. It has landing gear on it. That is a trailer. Oh boy. Oh boy. Alright, I just want to see the good stuff. Let me see the good stuff. Where's the good stuff? Now that's a way to keep your missiles moving. Oh. Oh, nice cab over. Hell yeah. Look at that thing. What is that, Kenworth? Nice. Yeah, that's it. There it goes. Damn, that's nuts. They have grain trailers that dump like that. Farmers did it first. You know what, Wounded? You know what, dude? Where do you think they got the idea? I'm serious. You're right. I know exactly what you're talking about. The trailer, dude. You back the trailer in and it dumps the grain. Where do you think they got the idea? They probably some farm boy in the Air Force was probably like, you know what, back home we just take the dang trailer, and somebody was like, why don't we put a strong back inside of a trailer and have the strong back move up, and then you move up and then it launches, and you have this complex hydraulic system, and some farm boy is probably like, why don't we just tilt the whole damn trailer up? That's what we do with the grain. That's what we do with the grain trucks. We just tilt the whole trailer. You know that conversation absolutely happened. That happened exactly like that. It's like, oh, just tilt the whole damn trailer back, just open up the front. It's way easier. You guys hear about corn? Yeah, corn is very interesting. Like that's, yeah, probably more than once. You know that happened a bajillion times, right? Corn is very interesting. Yeah, it's good stuff. This is a cigarette, it's not weed. You do the fake dip lip so well, it's insane. Yeah, so. I mean, can you imagine how hard it would be to track ICBMs like these on the road? Yeah, Tessa, rumor has it Yanis rides around on one of those old Soviet missile trains, that armor stuff they used to run around the country so we couldn't target him. Real truth is, you don't find this guy, he finds you. Best I can do is point you in the direction of his competition. That ex-KGB guy, tough mother, got a limp on his right leg, named Zukovsky. Valentin Dmitrovich Zukovsky? Yeah, you know him? I gave him the limp. He's going to derail us. Bond, only Bond. Dude, that movie's so good. I love GoldenEye. I tell you something about corn. I tell you what, boy, corn damn good. Rockets are amazing and awesome. ICBMs are not. They're terrifying. Yeah, you ain't kidding, man. You ain't kidding. All right. ICBMs are... Woo! Keep those in the silo, please. Or use them to launch, payloads into space. I'm cool with that as long as the payload doesn't come back down and explode. Funny enough, there was a counterbid from Boeing. For what the hell is this? What? That's an LCAC with a missile tube attached to it. It's an LCAC with a Peacekeeper launcher on it. Like, look at the size. That. All right. Yeah, I mean, okay. Yeah, exactly, Vanguard. That's exactly how that went down. Have you touched this on the news yet? I don't know. I have that in here, CMAC. Yeah, that's in here. This is the deployment mode. That what the why it is an LCAC. It was the exact right dimensions. I was taking a guess, but yep. Okay. Why would you do this? Why would someone do this? Why would you do that? Why would why not? Yeah. Yeah, that anyway. Here, this is an update from Impulse Space. Let's go. Common Dome and the Lox Dome of Helios have been sleeved. Another milestone towards a fully assembled development tank. Built to carry over 13,000 kilograms of propellant, Helios is engineered for direct insertion in MEO, GEO, and beyond. Every step gets us closer to delivering dedicated primary and rideshare payloads from from low Earth orbit to geostationary orbit in under a day. High energy, high efficiency space transportation. On track. This is coming from Impulse Space. Impulse Space is looking at making, well, really optimized and efficient Methalox upper stages that they can attach to rockets to move payloads to further destinations. Impulse Space was started by a guy named Tom Mueller. Tom Mueller is like an original SpaceX employee, and he designed the Merlin engines that Falcon uses. And Kestrel, and Draco, and Super Draco, and Raptor. He left to start Impulse Space. And these Helios upper stages just fit inside of a Falcon 9 fairing, just kind of coincidentally. By Methalox, hydrogen superiority. Methalox because it's easier to deal with. Stability superiority, my friend. I should listen to everything you have before throwing out more space news. No, CMAC. I have it teed up. I haven't gotten to it yet, dude. I'm still making my way through space news. I haven't gotten there yet. That's all. Here, we can get there in a second. So this next thing is coming from a company called Latitude. I actually am not too familiar with this. This is a first pressure-fed hot fire test of the Navier engine. Flight version. Combustion chamber took place. The burns lasted up to 10 seconds, collecting critical data. Fully integrated test, including turbo pump next. And then here's the full video. Guys, this might get loud. Headphone users. 10 seconds. Nice. That looks a little overexpanded to me. Is it supposed to do that? A rocket in a box? You can use the same fueling system for Impulse as for intuitive machines on Falcon's pad. Yeah, Yuri, good point. I don't think that was an accident. Yeah, that looked a little underexpanded, but still very cool. Very cool. What's this video? Can't listen to that. That's the same test stand. Why did you keep the service gantry in place? Look at what it did to the metal floor. Ugh. Yikes. So that's latitude. That looks like that's still pressure fed. But yeah, pretty good, man. You notice there's no turbine machinery anywhere. I don't know why you wouldn't get rid of this gantry plating, but it looks like it's on shock absorbers anyway. Where is this? This is at some airfield or something. Is that black exhaust in the flame the same as the bits on the shuttle engine? That was loud. Fuel bag. I don't think so. I don't understand what this is. Erudite, what are we talking about here? And also tell me before I click on the video next time. It's using similar propellants, Flykin. That's why it looks similar. Ooh. Oh, that's nice. Oh. Ooh, that's whoa. What the hell? What is this? That's impressive, dude. I'm actually impressed they went from 20 to 100 to 40 back to 20 in like 5 seconds and the thing didn't explode. Oh, 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 that's pretty good, man. Oh, wow. That's pretty good. Who made this? This is from Sky Blue, our throttleable methane engine from Perigee. Ooh, Simon Fordham. I gotta finish watching that. Look at how defined that cone is. Yeah, it's all good, Erudite. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Tessa, that's pretty damn impressive, dude. Not only is it impressive, the fact that they're just flipping it around willy-nilly, so like 60, 20, 100. They kept it at 20. So they kept it at 20, 40. 100. Down to 20. Back to 100. That right there, the fact that it didn't pop doing that is pretty damn good engineering, man. Simon's amazing. Rocket. Somebody told me, Hawksalicious in chat told me about him about a week ago. And yeah, that F-100. Mint. Hurst equipped, baby. It's a South Korean company founded in 2018. Yuri, that's pretty dang impressive right here, man. That's, dude, that would blow. If you did that with a shuttle engine, it would explode. Like, absolutely explode. Heck, if you did that with a Raptor, maybe a Raptor could do that, but there's not many engines that can do that out there. No, I'm good, Baron. That'd make an awesome landing engine. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. Anyway, here's the news from Rocket Lab. So Rocket Lab released this last week. We got a need for hypersonic speed, and we're ready to serve. Our HASTE hypersonic flight test rocket has been on-ramped to 2 multi-year government development programs for the United States and the United Kingdom. The first HASTE has been made eligible to support the UK's hypersonic technology development program. So HASTE is basically an electron that launches on a very shallow suborbital trajectory to be used as a hypersonic testbed article. And now it can be used as a hypersonic testbed article for other countries. The UK is doing it as well, which is actually super cool. Man, Rocket Lab really getting all the use out of Electron as they possibly can. That's pretty damn cool. Latitude's test site is somewhere near Vardy Village in Paris-Vatry Airport, France, the middle of nowhere. Okay. Burger, nugget, nugget, burger, burger, nugget, nugget, burger. Yeah, there you go. What are the Brits testing? Hypersonic beans on toast? Well, they got to get the toast cooked somehow. You've also seen that clip. Burger, nuggets, nuggets, burger. I would like to buy a hamburger. I would like to buy a hamburger. Yeah, do the hamburger. I'd like to buy a hamburger. Yeah, do the hamburger. Good movie, Boom Boom. So yeah, Rocket Lab is really putting Electron to work, trying to maximize the profit off of that thing, getting the most bang for their buck for the development of that vehicle. Speaking of that, Rocket Lab, power your mission your way. Introducing Starbase. Rocket Lab's new modular solar arrays, customizable, scalable, and built to deliver reliable, high-efficiency power for any satellite, any orbit. It's like Burger King, but with rockets. You can have it your way. So, Kerbal mod pack or actual satellite bus development? I'll let you be the judge. That's Subway. No, it's not. Subway is eat fresh. Burger King is have it your way. Like in, come on, you can do it. -3 points for Fleikendor. That's cool, dude. Modular expandable solar arrays. That's actually pretty sick, dude. Man, Rocket Lab is very much becoming like, I don't even know, dude. Like what is a good analogy in the real world here? They just make all the nuts and bolts for the rocket. They make satellites, they make control moment gyros, they make solar panels, they make avionics packages, they make landing legs, they make all the parts. They don't actually make the vehicle. The Rocket Lab KSP mod pack will arrive at the same time as the ULA mod pack. That wasn't very nice. I can leave. I can leave, Hell Hydra. I can leave. Can I buy it and install it in your home? I don't know, man. Maybe. I fucked in your general direction.
This is space. I'm in space.
Don't give him a sub. Catching. Do not encourage this behavior. Just think, England had Electron in most respects back in the 60s, then canned it. It's comparable to Electron, dude, but yes. Yeah, Black Arrow. I mean, you guys... I don't know what you were doing with that. Also, whoever linked the car with the Axiom Space logo on it, pretty cool. Cool. Scout ... What about it? What about Scout? What does Scout have to do with any of this? I'm confused. Only nation to get to space and decide it wasn't worth it. Yeah, that reads. Well, that reads for you lot. That reads very well for you lot. American Electron. That... Okay. All right, Seacracken, you figured it out. EJ, where would I install a control moment gyro if you had one? On a go-kart, dude. Yuri, they have those under the, over there? You know what a go-kart is? Sorry, that's all good. You figured it out. I was like, what are you talking about? What is Scout? What was... I'm confused, bruh. Bruh. What are those part shops called for cars? The opposite of Tesla, I forgot, but it's a good analogy for Rocket Lab. They're a supplier. They're a AAA supplier, dude. It's a smart car that people race. Yeah, a go-kart. Actually, Yuri, you know what? Screw all that. I got a better idea. You know my racing rig? Okay, new plan. We take the racing rig, we put it on a 3-axis gyro, right? And then we bolt Rocket Lab's control moment gyro to the back of the seat, right? And then we take the steering wheel off and we put a joystick in place. So the control moment gyro will, the CMG will turn the whole thing. I'm not sure they're powerful enough to do that now that I'm really thinking about it. You'd need to put a lot of power through that thing and it would probably saturate. Put it up above my fireplace would probably be my answer to that question, Yuri. What are you going to do with a Rocket Lab CMG? I'll put it on the shelf. I think I raced a go-kart even here. I'm not good at it though. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool though. Hey, you're in your racing rig right now. All right, man. How about now? You want a picture of my racing rig? It's behind the flight director's desk. See? Complete with actual car seat. And the car seat is red. You know why? Because that adds horsepower. Obviously. It adds horsepower that way. It's red. And it's from a Supra. Is that a Supra? Yeah. It's from a Supra. Yeah. Super seat. How about now? Timing's 180 out. How about now? Yeah, it's red. It goes faster. Obviously, the box said 10 horsepower. Is that a Supra? Yeah. Did it cost $5K? No, I got the seat for free, believe it or not. 95 or 97 Supra. That is from a 1982 Supra. So it's a Mark II. It would be from a Mark II. If you have a CMG, build this. I would click on it, but yeah. Okay, there we go. The dashboard is being laggy face. The gyroscopically balanced Gyro X2 wheel car. Nah, I don't. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Ah, perhaps the best Supra. You once had an 87 altitude. Nice. Push this across the finish line or tow it. Red goes faster. As a Warhammer player, I could say it indeed goes faster. Yeah, of course. All right. So we were talking a little bit a second ago about rockets that can be put in a tube and launched from anywhere. We actually got an update from Chris Kemp here, the CEO at Astra. Here, let's just see. Let's see this clip here. What is this about?
Well, I think you definitely told a story about an underdog, and I think that that's fair. And this stuff is really hard. And as the movie came to a close, we were having a really rough time. And I think your last words were it just didn't work out. And I had asked you to add the word yet, because we were very much at an inflection point where I think there were a lot of people, employees and investors and customers, who were quite excited about the next chapter. And so I guess what this is about is about the next chapter that really starts at the last frame of the movie.
So that was from Ashley Vance's podcast?
Well, I think, you did.
So Astra launched a couple of things. They're one of a handful of private companies that ever has got anything into orbit. Believe it or not, Rocket 3, Rocket 3 worked a little bit, and then it didn't work. So Astra actually pivoted to working on a new rocket called Rocket 4, and they've been working on it ever since. They made a very, very big pivot from building Rocket 3, which is basically like a civilian vehicle that could be launched from anywhere. You could fit Rocket 3 in its launch pad inside of a trailer. To building Rocket 4, which is a little bit bigger than being able to fit inside of a trailer. There's a picture of it from a little while back. So here's the timestamps. Astra's journey in current state.
The company was in peril. We didn't even know if Astra would be around. But it is, and we have news about what Astra is doing and where it's heading. And Chris, as ever, was a fantastic sport and addressed all of my difficult and head-on questions.
So that's Ashley Vance right there. Ashley Vance is a writer that writes a lot about different events in the spaceflight industry. He wrote one of Elon Musk's bios, like the first Elon Musk biography. He wrote it, so he's got his finger on the pulse in spaceflight. So
you're gonna enjoy the show as ever. Our plans for world domination are not yet complete, so please go to your favorite podcast app and give us a likey thing or a review, and go to our YouTube channel, Core Memory. We have new episodes of our TV show together. We did a book. The movie, I think, did very well on HBO, but I seem to get this crazy number of emails from people who see it on United. I had no idea that people watch as many movies on United.
All right, I'll have to pick through this and find all the right information, because it's not time-stamped correctly. It ain't time-stamped correctly, but interesting. So Astra is very much not dead, which is kind of crazy to me, considering what happened. I don't know if you guys have seen what happened to Rocket 3. Here.
Our next objective is...
All right, watch.
System on 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. 0.
First motion.
First motion.
You guys should see the clip. Thank you, Aerodot. I was waiting for somebody to link it. Here, watch my reaction to this. This is funny, dude.
5,
ignition should be
4, 3,
all right,
2,
all right.
1.
All right, watch this. Ready? Here, I'll get over here so you guys can see. You guys can see EJ's reaction to this.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. 0.
First motion.
First motion.
Oh shit! Well. Sometimes swearing is warranted. So Astra's been pivoting since then. They've been pivoting. That did not go as planned. Yeah, old chair too. Yeah, yep. Past DJ. What is this? Astra sweep incoming. Oh no, what is this?
I'm your girl so fine, but her breath is like.
Oh god, we've hit the brain rot section of space news.
When I hit the 3, I hit the. I'm your girl so fine, but her breath is like.
So bad, dude. It's so bad. Get it off the screen, man. Get it off the screen. Get it off the screen. I didn't replace the chair. Marcus is my shop chair now, which we will be using sooner rather than later. Dude, it just be like, which we will be using sooner rather than later for this. Yeah. We got to do some work on this. You know what? Would you guys want to see some auto streaming tomorrow? And then maybe, I don't know, auto streaming. So auto stream, space news, summer car tomorrow, maybe? Yeah. All right. Cool. We'll do a walk around of the Coronet tomorrow, and we'll see what we need to fix. There's some gore. The car looks a lot nicer than it actually is. So we'll, take some things apart, assess the damage. There's a launch at 3:30. Oh, that's right. Your truck changed colors and shrank a bit. No, Jeff. No, it's good. I just have a carcane problem. Don't worry about it. How much PB Blaster do you have? Yeah, that's a good point, Rocket Science. That's a good point. Marcus is the shop chair, so it's just one small step out to pasture. No, it's fine. No, Trey, I haven't gotten to Starbase yet. I'm almost there. Yeah, I have a case of brake clean. Does that help? Case of brake clean. Is MSC a good idea the night before the big Firefly launch? So we have L-174 tomorrow, that Minotaur that I was telling you guys about at 3:30. And then Alpha is on Friday at 9:30. Yeah. It's fine. It's Friday. You mean everything cleaner. So MSC tonight. No, MSC on Wednesday.
Discovery, going throttle up.
New chair, nice. Yeah, Wizard. Yep. Yeah, we can I'm trying to think how this is all gonna fit together. What's the greatest comeback, Firefly or Astra? Astra hasn't came back yet. Firefly is, I'd say Blue Ghost is a pretty good comeback, Ron. Astra started a pattern that I've been noticing in the industry. An aerospace company says we're going to reach orbit with this ambitious rocket design. They go public with SPAC merge. They try, they fail. At the same time, they start an on-orbit servicing division, making SATs, buses, ion engines to make themselves too big to fail. Astra did it, Terran Orbital did it, and now Spin Launch is doing it. Yeah, we can work on the car tomorrow. That shouldn't be a problem. There will be a Minotaur in the middle of it, but yeah, it'll be good. That's really a bad time for that, though. Maybe we should work on the car on Thursday. But I wanted to tag team my summer car with my summer car, you know what I mean? Maybe we do early space news tomorrow. We do space news to the Minotaur launch, then work on the car, and then play summer car. So Thursday shop stream and MSC tonight. Why? No MSC tonight. MSC is an after hours. I'm trying to aim for MSC after hours on Wednesday. It's Good Friday, Pat? Oh, every Friday is good. So you're saying MSC tonight? If someone says play MSC tonight, even though I've said it like 3 or 4 times now that I'm not going to, there will be consequences. MSC tonight would be pretty cool, though. Not gonna lie, just saying. Fine, no MSC tomorrow. Sorry. We'll play it next week. You would be the one that does that. All right. Anyway, we have a little bit more stuff to do. Actually, so I don't know. I wanted to do summer car with summer car, but that makes that really difficult to work on all tomorrow. Let me think. I'm trying to think how we could tally that all together. I'll think of something, guys. I want to work on the car tomorrow, and then I want to cover the Minotaur launch, but I also want to play summer car, and I want to get space news. I'll figure out how to kind of piece it all together. So we'll think about it. Wendy, you can expect to pay around 44 grand for a 1970 Coronet RT in good condition with average spec. The highest selling price of a 70 Coronet RT at auction was $247,500. It's not a 70, it's a 69. But yeah, I know. I don't feel like paying 45 grand for a 2-door Coronet, so I paid $1,400 for a 4-door Coronet. that does actually the same thing, but it has 2 more doors. That's the difference in price between a 4-door Coronet and a 2-door Coronet. To me, to be 100% honest with you, I do not care if it has 4 doors. It's a 69 B-body Chrysler. I don't care. I'm not paying 40 G's for a 2-door version. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Anyway, moving on. More space news. We'll find a way to balance it all tomorrow. Basically, there's a couple of things we got to do. We got to mess with the brakes tomorrow, or at least figure out the state of the brakes so I can actually move that car, because right now it has no brakes. The engine runs pretty decently, but it has no brakes. There's a broken brake line somewhere. So what I want to do, what I think we'll do tomorrow is I will once over the car before the Minotaur launch. And then on the other side of the Minotaur launch, we will figure out what's going on with the brakes. And then we'll do space news and then summer car. Tomorrow's going to be fun. Going to be a fun schedule. Rocket launches, summer cars, space news, more summer cars. It'll be good. I need to talk number with you about the thing. Okay. You know, I'm in a good mood. There were a couple of articles here from Jeff Faust about the statement from co-chairs of the Congressional Planetary Science Caucus includes some of the first criticism I have seen about the proposed NASA science budget cuts from a Republican member, Don Bacon of Nebraska. Yeah, Congress doesn't like it when you try to gut NASA. That's the moral of that story. I don't think it's going to happen for what it's worth. We've discussed that in detail on a flame trench last week. So I've decided I'm not discussing that. Here, look at this instead. This is coming from the glorious Yak. What do you think about a 56 Coronet? If you pay 20 grand for a 56 Coronet, Baron, I'm kicking you in the face in Minecraft. This is a pipe organ, obviously. So, what you have been saying, just cool, just going to believe in EJ. What do you mean, Trey? Oh. So that is one of the buckets for Pad B at Starbase. This is, so basically, this is a flame diverter, but I call it a flame bucket. Nobody else does that, but I call this a flame bucket. Now, why is it a flame bucket? If you look, it looks like a freaking pipe organ, all right? What happens is, during launch, they're going to shoot water into this plenum right here. I don't know if plenum should be used for hydraulics, but they'll shoot it into this manifold here. And look, each one of these is connected to one of these tubes. So they're going to shoot water in there, and water's going to shoot down, and then there's another manifold at the bottom down here where water actually shoots out, right? This basically makes your flame diverter regeneratively cooled. I call that a flame bucket. What this is designed to do is to support long duration burns and extremely powerful burns. Yeah, the flame diverter is regeneratively cooled. This is going to go with this side, the side that's facing us, pointed up like this. So if the flame diverter is this shape, like that, my thumb being the part that's up like this, it's going to go like that into the pad. And Caesar took this. The last NSF update, Jack called it that as well. Really? Starbase update. Get out of here.
It's been a milestone week here in Starbase. The water-cooled flame diverters for Pad B have finally rolled to the launch site.
He called them flame diverters. Water-cooled flame diverters. That's not what that is, Jack.
And as if that wasn't enough, Booster 14
No, it wasn't enough.
2 rolled back to the production site, while Ship 35 started to show signs that it's going to be ready to roll out for engine testing soon. All while demolition of the high bay and Stargate buildings continued. Oh, and we did a flyover this week, so we'll take a look at the remarkable progress on Pad B and everywhere around Starbase from the air. Howdy, Star Partners. I'm Jack Byer for NSF, and this...
Howdy, Star Partners. Jack, we gotta talk.
This is your Starbase update.
We have a liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal. Water towers fly! Yikes, you bet concur! We do need more of this.
Let's start this week's update by taking a look at the production site from the air. There's been a ton of development on the infrastructure here since we last
Hippie Joe, thanks for the $2 super chat.
There's also been a lot of demolition as well.
It's orange!
Yes, it's nearly time to say goodbye to the high bay. The dismantling of it has been underway.
Do you have any idea why those holes on the high bay? Let me see.
We've seen SpaceX remove the upper layer of the building completely, as well as the massive bridge crane structure at the top of it. The nighttime views of sparks raining down as they chop up the structure have been truly beautiful, even though they're bittersweet because they herald the end of this venerable structure. As you can see from the air, basically everything at the top is completely gone and removed. Don't fret though, you can also see the giant amount of room that SpaceX is now freeing up with this change. This huge footprint will become the new Gigabay that is going to be built here. Part of that footprint is the Stargate building next to the old high bay. This building was opened in March of 2019, and its name is an acronym for Spacecraft Tracking and Astronomical Research into Gigahertz Astrophysical Transient Emission.
Does that... Okay, that's the name for Stargate. Does that say do not shoot the glass? Is that a Die Hard reference?
Say that 3 times fast. It was built as a public-private partnership between CARA, the Center for Advanced Radio Astronomy, the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, and SpaceX. Remember the old tracking station that has long since been dismantled to make way for more employee housing and parking? That's what those dishes were there for. The stated goals of the Stargate project were to establish a world-class physics department at University of Texas Brownsville and to help make South Texas a leader in space exploration.
Whoops.
I'd say at least one of those 2 goals has been achieved.
Yep.
So with the Stargate building having been leveled to make space for the Gigabay, we have to say goodbye to one of the last remaining vestiges of the early Starship days.
Oh, God.
I really hope that at least...
Oh, man. Dude. Yo, put me in that seat. Yo, I'll do that for free. Put me in the seat of the excavator. I know how to use those. I know how to use those now.
To have a presence here in Starbase.
Oh, man.
Still continue to help young minds learn.
It's got the thumb and everything. We could just...
about things that interest them. So, goodbye, Stargate. Thanks for your usefulness to students, science, and SpaceX. Fun fact, Stargate is also the building in which I met Elon that one time. But not only High Bay and Stargate are going away. Continuing their trend of building nice things and then demolishing them right after, the fancy new Star Factory entrance next to the ring yard is also going away, as we've mentioned in previous episodes. This week, we can see SpaceX has clearly marked that area for dismantling, and teams have even started removing the big roll-up door that we've seen nose cones and payload structures roll out of many times now. Presumably, the Star Factory and Gigabay will be joined as one when everything is done being built, just like Megabay 2 and the Star Factory are connected now. Quick update also from the LR-11,000 crane segments we've been keeping an eye on.
Crane! Do you believe after the Gigabay is built that they will have an expansion that includes Megabay 1 and 2? Yes.
In the SpaceX storage yard. It seems that some of these were sent away for repairs and are gone from the storage site, which, yeah, actually, thanks Adrian, Adrian wrote this script. I do remember driving past some crane parts on their way out of Starbase this week. Let's now
Bob,
move
for
over
sure.
to the rocket garden.
Bob, you're saying we're always doing that. We tear out work in our plants with that equipment, big retools, out with the old, in with the new. Bob, it is frankly ridiculous to me that, we are comparing this rocket factory to like the Flint assembly. It is frankly ridiculous in a good way. Like, I want to sit there and just kind of think about that for a second. We are comparing a rocket production line to a car production line. And it's like, yes, that is a totally normal thing for it to happen. All right, oh, see you, buddy. That's actually ridiculous.
In our last update, we saw Ship 20 getting shuffled around, which we were a bit flummoxed
There's
by
the
at the time. Well, we can now infer a little bit more. Looking at the aerial views, we can now see that SpaceX is performing a revamp of the area and is working on the road next to the rocket garden.
They're grading it. They are grading it with gravel. And it looks like they scraped all the topsoil off, buddy. All right, so look at that. I think we got like a D5 right there, front end loader. Can't tell what type of excavator. It looks like a Caterpillar, though. There's your roller. There's the big excavator right there. That thing's awesome. We got a backhoe over there doing its thing. We got a Ship 20 right there doing its thing. There's your water truck. This is a backhoe system. I know that. I know excavators. I don't know backhoes. You think they will drop Ship 20 in the middle of the roundabout? That'd be kind of cool, but who knows?
This is
so something interesting to note here, guys. Drainage. There's a drainage culvert right there. See the pipes? Now that's not sewage per se. That is rainwater drainage, from what I can tell. That's why there's a trench going this way. And if you look, there's drainage culverts right there. See that? So it looks like they're making the road go around that drainage culvert. See, there's some big honking pipes right there.
Most likely why Ship 20 had to move, to make space for that construction.
Yeah,
hopefully that means
I got
they're
you,
not going to
Tessa.
scrap Ship 20.
Yeah, it looks like there's another right away for drainage coming this way, and it looks like all that's going to connect in. I know, Bob. It's awesome.
Naturally, since it's been a little while since our last flyover, comparing pictures from then to now, we can also see the extreme progress that SpaceX has made on the Star Factory and office building. Heck, the office building wasn't even fully built the last time we flew. Recently, SpaceX also had some workers working on the facade of the Star Factory and office building connection. This looks like they're changing out some of the paneling maybe, probably for an aesthetic reason. We can also see some workers present doing just this on the flyover pictures. Right next to the Star Factory, SpaceX is building some prime real estate. This new apartment complex at St. Martin Boulevard is making great progress. Well, the foundation of it is, anyway. There is still quite a lot to do here, but it's being prepared for the above-ground construction to come. This will provide a significant boost in housing availability for the ever-growing population here in Starbase, Texas. Now, let's give some of the prototype vehicles some attention. These are not part of the next flight stack, but are...
Did the stream freeze, guys? I have 0 drop frames on my end. Ah, you thought it froze again. All right. all right. Okay.
They're still part of the impressive production line that SpaceX has been ramping up here to
Cool.
produce starships faster and faster. Let's start with a quick trip to the Massey Outpost, where Booster 17 was parked
You
last week
jerk.
in preparation for
Come on!
proof testing. Note,
That was
Booster
good.
does not yet have any Raptor engines installed. Those are installed later after cryogenic proof testing. On April 8th, the first cryogenic proof test was performed on Booster 17 at Massey's, with a second cryo test following shortly after on the 9th. It's not unusual to see multiple cryo tests on the same vehicle as
Cryo, spin prime, static prime, cryo test.
SpaceX tests different tanks individually and then together. They really want to make sure to verify the structural integrity of each booster ahead of engine outfitting. When Caesar and I flew over, Booster 17 was present at the Massey Outpost. You can also see that the new cap that
Something is dying. He's frozen and then he speeds up. Uh-oh. YouTube. Twitch may have kicked the bucket. It's more stop and go. No issues on Twitch. PNWC service seems fine. Cool. All right, sweet. We'll go back.
That boosters have these days has been installed on it and is covering up some more of the sensitive bits of the booster at the top of the forward dome. This cap is non-permanent and will be removed once the booster receives its hot staging ring. You can also see
Adios, turd nuggets, me, baby.
The booster still lacks the 4 grid fins, which are also not installed yet. Next to the booster, we can see work on the second cryo-proof stand being built. This is the one that will be used for the next generation of boosters, which we expect to start with Booster 18, but really who knows. The most notable change here is the fact that this booster test stand will feature 2 booster quick disconnects. So even faster fueling of the booster might be a thing we can expect with the next revision. SpaceX appears to be on pace to fuel Starship up significantly faster than Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy, which feature significantly less propellant, something I'm still struggling to wrap my brain around. In addition to the new cryo stand at the Massey Outpost, we can also see that the liquid
Can I, Jack, what?
We expect to start with Booster 18, but really who knows. The most notable change here is the fact that this booster test stand will feature 2 booster quick disconnects. So even faster fueling of the booster might be a thing we can expect with the next revision. SpaceX appears to be on pace to fuel Starship up significantly faster than Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy, which feature significantly less propellant, something I'm still struggling to wrap my brain around.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
In addition to the new cryo stand at the Massey Outpost, we can also see that the liquid oxygen farm might be getting a new expansion soon, as indicated by these new embeds in the ground for a...
Dude, I just want to point out, the fueling paraphernalia that they have on the test site is better and can probably fuel faster than most, like, actual launch pads. Like, yeah.
A potential
that's pretty
new
cool.
LOX tank, which will be installed there. Another item of significant work we could observe this last week at the Massey Outpost is the structural test stand, which is on the other side of Massey's. This article is usually used to test smaller structural test tanks to verify their load capabilities. This is exactly what we hope to soon be happening with Test Tank 17, which we suspect is a Block 2 booster aft test article.
Yeah, it's crazy,
used to test the all-important engine section of the new boosters.
This is nuts, dude. The fueling paraphernalia, dude, you could launch like a Falcon 9 from Massey's. Not that they ever would, but I mean, it would need to be methane, but there's no RP-1 fueling paraphernalia here, but still, it's pretty crazy.
The current modifications of these test stands are most likely to prepare them for what they'll need to do on the potentially multiple test tanks to come. Test Tank 17 may just be the first up, depending on how it performs. No matter what though, we'll keep our eyes on it to make sure we understand as much as we can about it. And speaking of keeping our eyes on Test Tank 17, its aft section was rolled into Mega Bay 1 this weekend. This is the section that features the booster landing tank. This is the engine section. So this is most likely to verify a lot of the design properties for the...
No, I don't think that's an engine section. I think that's the P-18 modulator. Where is my P-18 modulator? Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom!
Its aft section integrity. I did try to get a photo looking into Mega Bay 1 when we were doing our flyover, but the door was only open a little tiny sliver, and the lighting basically made it impossible, so sorry we couldn't do more there, but hopefully it rolls out soon. Moving now to the other prototypes at the production site, we can report that Ship 37 stacking is continuing in Mega Bay 2. A barrel section rolled into Mega Bay 2 during the week, and also its transfer tubes were installed over the course of the week as well.
Ah, nice downcomer.
Ship 37 still has some time until it will become the star of the show, but with the current pace of the program, it's not ruled out that it might be a candidate for the first ship catch, depending on how the next few flights go. Speaking of potential catch candidates, let's talk about Ship 36. 36 is still missing a lot of tiles, and for yet another week, we're all sort of wondering what's going on with that. Maybe SpaceX is just waiting for results from upcoming flights to see how Ship does on re-entry before fully committing and completing the heat shield on 36. Maybe their only tile kiln thingy broke and it's going to take forever to get another one. Who knows? Luckily though, it's just not a high priority to complete right now, and maybe it's just that simple. We will see in the future what fate has in store for 36, but for now, we wait. Let's talk about boosters. It seems more likely that the flight after the next flight, that'll be Flight 10, will feature another booster reuse, as Booster 15 has been moved from the Rocket Garden to Mega Bay 1. This is most...
You know what's bizarre? I've stood like right here, I watched that booster roll out from right there and then roll back in from right there, which is... That's weird. Actually, no. Maybe that was booster 15. That was booster 15. That was that one over there. But still, though...
most likely to prepare it for its second flight. If we compare that with the timeline of booster 14, this could line up for a flight of booster 15 on potentially flight 10 or 11, depending on the pace. Of course, this makes sense. Booster 14 is already going for reuse on the next flight, so reusing this booster that was caught right after it is probably a very reasonable decision.
Yes.
SpaceX is already very confident in pushing for booster reusability, with just 8 flights of Starship so far. If that's not impressive to you, then I seriously don't know what would be. Here's a few smaller updates on other prototypes.
You, Jack!
Ship 38
You're
has
impressive
received
to
its
me.
forward flaps, so that ship is also progressing down the production pipeline as well, even though it's still very much in pieces. Meanwhile, the nose cone for Ship 39 got its LOX header tank, as we spotted the header tank earlier in the week, and then spotted it the next day with...
Oh, it's in the Mega Bay now? Oh, 12 is cool too, though.
its nose cone sleeved on top of it. And it goes
You're
even
breathtaking.
further than that. I spotted what might be Ship 40's methane header tank as well. That's over 5 prototypes of Starship currently in the production line that SpaceX is assembling right now. Just that we can see.
Right meow.
This is just one production line on one side of this massive factory. There's almost certainly a ton going on that we just don't ever see. Okay, let's now move on to the big ticket item of this week, and that was for sure Pad B. There's been so much movement of different Pad B items, and we'll get an extra special look at everything from the air. Let's start with the launch mount. The mount is, of course, still parked at the Sanchez site where it's being built. This week, though, with our aerial views, we can get a better understanding of exactly what we're looking at. The launch mount
Where does the launch pad go? That's right, it goes in the square hole.
itself seems to be more and more complete, with the deck looking mostly done. We can still see a lot of scaffolding and work going on inside of the mount, but of course, this could all be wrapped up and removed relatively fast. As we always say, the removal of this scaffolding will be a huge tell in terms of when the mount is going to roll to the launch site. Scaffolding still there?
Nice,
Not
Duncan.
rolling anytime soon. Scaffolding goes away? Be prepared for a roll. It's so simple. In this picture, you can also see what might be installation points for Raptor access points. It's not clear if SpaceX will even use the Raptor spin-up system from Pad A on Pad B, as the 2 QDs they will use for the booster on Booster Block 2 might be enough to just spin start the whole booster from the QD, instead of using external booster quick disconnect attachments. Of course, only time will tell, but that is the current leading theory of what might be the spin start system for Pad B. This goes with the old adage, the best part is no part, so it won't be surprising if the booster QDs for the outer 20 engines go away.
I forgot
This
about
means
that
there's
footage.
less stress and hardware on the
Oh
pad itself. We've
my
seen
God.
how much refurbishment and detailed, painstaking work is
Bruh.
required at Pad A after every single flight. So any simplifications like this to help speed up turnover time and build up redundancy and increase flight rate will help out the Starship program in general. But wait, there's even more good news. SpaceX is also progressing with work on the ship quick disconnect arm
What
for
a
Pad
cutie.
B that has been seemingly laying fallow for quite some time now. This arm has seen
Hello?
basically no attention for the past few months, but on our flyover, you can see parts laying around and workers and machinery present again at the arm. So it seems SpaceX is starting to push to finish this particular piece of infrastructure as well now, to make it ready for launches on Pad B. What is still
You know what's pretty crazy? Sorry, I don't mean to keep pausing. I want to add my 2 cents. That is a very, modeling picture, modeling pose of Jack. Lenny, define your world. Modeling by Jack Byer. Anyway, you know what's crazy? Guys, if you go on Google Earth right now and you look at Starbase, Pad B doesn't even exist. And the pictures from Starbase are from less than a year ago. That's ridiculous. That pad is going to, all told, that pad's going to be built in less than a year. The second Starship pad. That in itself is a ridiculous time frame for a pad that complicated. That's just something to think about. That's really quick.
still missing, though, is the sort of wrist piece for the arm. It's the more articulated end of the ship QD, and we still haven't seen any signs of it. This piece's absence could mean
it's because it's inside.
that SpaceX is still in the process of redesigning the ship QD part of the arm, in preparation for some other changes on the ship itself, perhaps. Let's move our attention now to the giant flame bucket. This will be the...
He called it a flame bucket! Victory is ours!
And thermal energy for Pad B, and an integral part of its flame trench. Well, guess what happened this week? The scaffolding around it was removed. You know what that means? Rollout time. The giant flame bucket always looked kind of silly from the ground, as you can only really see the very end of the pipes that go up diagonally.
They say you can hear singing pipes. Some people call them demons. I call them rockets. Watch how Uncle Jackbuyer works. They couldn't have done it without Florida, man. Okay. There's also a middle wedge piece next to them. Nice. Nice.
Diagonally. I know Das has called them Flintstone-style brontosaurus ribs in some of our summary videos, but in this flyover, you can fully grasp the absolute unit of a flame bucket that this thing is.
So they could be Flintstone-style brontosaurus bites. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's... Yeah, Joe, for sure. Twins, Basil. Twins.
You can also see on the flame bucket that it forms some kind of pattern. This is what will be the exhaust pattern of the Raptor engines, and it seems that SpaceX adjusted it based on what they think will be needed. On the subject of next generation hardware, we can see that the...
Wait, what are you talking about? A pattern?
This is what will be the exhaust pattern of the Raptor engines, and it seems that SpaceX adjusted...
Oh, this bit. Yeah, okay, I see it. So these pipes are flowing water by getting nailed by the rocket engine. Yeah, exactly. So Sawyer, there's a manifold up at the top that they're going to pump water into. Water's going to shoot down the flame bucket, right? The rocket flames are going to be on one side, and then it's going to shoot out the bottom, probably into the trench. Most of it's going to get vaporized. But, yeah, that's the difference between a flame diverter and a flame bucket. Now, most flame diverters are passively cooled in some way, shape, or form. Like the early flame diverters from the Apollo program, they just made a steel truss segment that looked like a wedge like this and cast some concrete into it, and the rocket engines would ablate the concrete. So, you know, when you need more, you just take the flame bucket, or take the flame diverter out and just recast the concrete. That's why if you look at like 39A, there's provisions for two diverters, so you could work on one and put the other one in the pad. Yeah, so open loop. Exactly, Sawyer. So a flame bucket is a actively cooled flame diverter. This one is a regeneratively cooled one. They pump water through it. The flames will be coming. So see the pattern here? These long sides, right? So, all right, let's just take my hands, right? So my pointer fingers are the long sides, right? And then the parts that are sloping up in this picture are my thumbs. These things are going to go together like this, right? Water will be pumped in up here, and it'll shoot down, and it'll shoot out the sides. And it'll work like a pad deluge system with a reusable flame diverter. A reusable or actively cooled flame diverter is called a flame bucket in rocket nomenclature, at least per NASA. All of the test stands at Stennis Space Center that were used for the Saturn V use flame buckets. They don't use flame diverters. Why? Well, a test stand is going to be seeing a lot more time firing the rocket engines. Well, per, old school, at this point in time, the freaking launch pads see more firings than the damn test stands do. But whatever. Per old nomenclature, you don't want your test stands to be refurbishable because you're going to be testing a lot more engines than you're going to be launching, right? SpaceX is killing two birds with one stone, in my opinion here. Now, here's the opinion part. So one, you have a rapidly reusable pad. Two, if you can deliver more water to this, now you have a rapidly reusable test stand as well, which is what I think might be going on here. I think that's why they opted to do this. You know, why have a separate test stand? Why do that? For the boosters. You gonna test the boosters at Massey's? No. Best place to test the booster is right there. On a launch pad that is designed to launch the booster. It's a good place to test it. With this type of system, you can fire the booster as long as you freaking want to. No problem. You can fire it as long as you want. As long as you have enough water to flow through here so you don't melt any of the metal, you could fire it for, you could do as long a duration burn as you want. I think there's a key there, and I think that's why they're doing this. So they could use, so the pad can double as a test stand. Worst case scenario, now you have a good test stand design. And this right here, that's the top of the bucket. Oh, so it, once again, in my pointer diagram, this piece right here is capped at the top like that, where my fingernails are. That's this piece. On-pad full duration test would be nuts. I agree, Pandaman. I think that would be pretty crazy. The other thing, okay, so Pandaman, I got another one. This is EJ's wild and crazy theory, okay? So if that's the case, dude, right? If that's the case, what's stopping them from taking the Massey's Starship test stand, right? Taking the Massey's Starship test stand, rolling that whole thing over to Pad B, having Mechazilla pick up a Starship with the Massey's test stand thingamajigger attached to it and placing it on top of this. What's stopping them from doing that? Think it could be done? The one kind of red flag in my mind there is strain on the entire stack. So you're tensioning an entire Starship doing that because the test stand is quite heavy. Getting commodities to the ship. That's a good point, Res. But they could easily just hook up some hoses like they do at Massey's. A couple of extra pipes. It's possible. The reason why I even bring this up, dudes, is that you could do that if you wanted to test, oh, I don't know, longer duration burns with Starship and not have to worry about, you know, raining fire down on the Caribbean. The fact that they already had trench at Massey's. Massey's water systems can only support about a minute burn as far as I can tell. Now, I'm talking through it. This is why it's a crazy and wild theory. So maybe let's keep an eye out for either A, some attachment points here, or B, them expanding the water infrastructure at Massey's. That water bottle did not need to be thrown. Hey, guess what? Hey, guess what? Hey, guess what? I didn't throw it. I spiked it. It's different. Anyway, I think they can do longer duration testing with this type of stand. Now, the ship on Pad B, that's kind of thin, I'll admit, but it could be done.
You can also see on the flame bucket that it forms some kind of pattern. This is what will be the exhaust pattern of the Raptor engines, and it seems that SpaceX adjusted it
Interesting.
based on what they think will be needed. On the subject of next generation hardware, we can see that the next generation booster
Yeah, there you go,
transport
Rez.
stand has its arms.
That's
right
another good
next to it.
idea.
So it seems these will go in fairly soon. This booster transport stand has been sitting around forever, and we had no idea why. But now it seems like it'll be different from the previous ones, and we expect this is because it's going to support Block 2 of boosters. The best thing about this week's flyover, to me,
Yeah, upgrading
is
the
that we
test
flew
site.
just a few
Yeah.
hours before the flame.
Upgrading the test site is probably makes more sense in my mind, but that's why I tell you guys my wild and crazy theories, because if you want to know how you get the right answer, get a right answer on the internet, say the wrong thing. No. Yeah. Jokes aside, no, it's cool to talk through this stuff with you guys. That's why I do it. You know, it's just a wild theory that you could do that, but yeah, probably not now that I'm really thinking about it.
buckets were rolled into launch site. This means we can get a close look at the flame trench work on Pad B.
He said flame trench!
Before they were installed, and really grasp
Pretty
the
much,
progression
Joe.
here.
Yeah.
You can see the amount of concrete pouring that already has happened on the west side of the flame trench.
All right, let's take a look. Water pipes. Those are your water pipes right there. Water pipes there. Commodity lines, so liquid methane, liquid oxygen are over here. The pumper truck is in there. They're pouring on a vertical like that. So this is sloped all the way down. It looks like they're pouring it and slowly moving it down to here, if I'm looking at this correctly. Where's water storage? If I recall correctly, these use Pad A and Pad B use the same water systems. What is this, Trey? I'm reading. Hold on. Nice. Gonna make it hard to launch from both pads if they share the water. Yep.
As they are now working on the east side of the trench as well. In fact, as we flew over...
So, there's two pumper trucks in here. You see these things that look like siege tanks? Identify target! That basically is a gigantic hydraulic arm, right? And then at the end, there's just a little tube. And what that thing does is there's a huge diesel generator back here, or a huge diesel engine in the back of the truck. Or it could be off of a PTO. It depends on the design. And what they do, there's a little pouring area in the back, and the concrete trucks, the cement mixers will pour into here, and then either through a power takeoff or another engine, there's a concrete impeller in here, an auger that pushes concrete up this pipe on the side. And then that pipe comes out of the little tube at the end. That's so you can like need to reach up over something like, oh, I don't know, a huge ditch where your water deluge lines are, to pour concrete into the sides. Yeah, super cool. You can see another pumper is working over here, but in this picture, that pumper doesn't have any concrete trucks being pouring into it. This one does. Which is interesting because you have all your crew, all your crew is here. Look, and it looks like they're smoothing out the concrete. So that pour probably already happened when this picture was taken. So a concrete truck probably just left. You could see where they were. You could see the tire tracks from where the two trucks were because they were doing that. They were pouring two at a time, which is once again really freaking cool. Also, there's a telescoping crawler crane right here. That's the one that moved this there. It was moving pieces into the flame trench, and you could see the pipes right there. Those two pipes will be connected to those two holes right there. See those? I'm pretty sure. And then that'll go up, and you could see the top mount for the bucket right here. So those buckets will be, the flame buckets will be here and here. Wait, well, how do you make a perfect slope with concrete without a mold? I think there's baffling in here, Sea Kraken. Basically the rebar. The rebar is you could see there's lines going this way, but I also think there's from this picture, there's rebar that's staked like downward, I think, and you'd be surprised. Concrete has really good surface tension against rebar, so you can pour on an angle like that. It's totally doable. If you make that rebar lattice extremely dense, the concrete will hold position. Yeah, it'll do that, like over there. Yeah, no, you just need forms on the side and the bottom. I say this like, all you got to do is this. Well, this is not a simple thing to do, but it's doable. You'd have to really make the rebar lattice really dense. And let's be real, the rebar lattice is really dense because SpaceX learned after Flight 1 that this concrete down here needs to be really strong. That's a great picture of some pixels, goalie. Well, they have water table issues like in Florida down there. Cirrus, that's what I'm really wondering, but so there are plugs in this, Cirrus. So what I noticed with this design is that and forgive me, I don't know the damn name of these things. I gotta find the right picture. There are plugs in the sides of the concrete that they're working on. So the only reason I know what these do and why they do what they do is, well, frankly, in downtown New York, there's a really nice picture of what I'm talking about. It's not there for the right reasons, but so Cirrus, see these things right here? See those plugs? That is a steel wire that's capped right here. And then it goes into the ground that way. So this is like in the basement. It goes into the ground, right? And there's a concrete anchor, probably about 20 feet in the wall, right? And you do this if you're building around a low water table. Now, the reason why I bring up 9/11 is because that's what they did to protect the foundations of the Twin Towers. The only reason why I'm showing you the 9/11 memorial is because you could see there's a really good picture of it because they made it into a memorial. But believe it or not, down there it was actually that was really, really cutting edge stuff when they made the Twin Towers. Really cutting edge stuff. What they basically did was make a bathtub out of concrete and forms. And unfortunately, you can see it on Google Earth, but you could see it for the wrong reasons, but you could still see it. So right here in downtown, right, they made a huge bathtub out of concrete forms and whatnot. Here, these pictures are the really easy way to see it. There it is. So basically, there's a huge concrete wall around this, and then there's a huge concrete floor. And it's a gigantic bathtub. Like, it's like a solid, watertight hull, right? And that keeps water from going in there. It minimizes water intrusion. And unfortunately, this is how you're able to see it. But forgive me, guys. Like, I don't mean to bring up some bad feelings, but this is a really good example. This was super cutting edge for the time. Tiebacks, I think is what they're called. Underpinnings, maybe. Pad B's flame trench does that. There are those plugs and those ties going out to the side. So that means right now they probably have a sump in there. In fact, let's look. Let's see if there's a sump truck.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
There's probably something pumping water out, so like a diesel generator or something, and a water tank or whatever. I'm looking right now. Hey, Dead Scum, 33-month resub. And then Not a Cat had a 51-month resub a second ago. They're probably pumping the water out right now until they seal this whole thing up. And then, yeah, you won't have to worry about it. It's kind of funny, though, because what's going to happen is it's going to end up getting flooded by the deluge system anyway. So that pump might be a more permanent solution. But there is there's a temporary water tank right there, and it's next to a diesel generator. It's probably just a coincidence. But I guarantee you there's some kind of sump in this design that's designed to pull water out. Because, yeah, water table is a huge problem. Like, okay, what we're talking about, guys, is look right here. You see the two water pipes right there? You see how there's a puddle around them? When you're close to sea level, right? So, like, right by the ocean, turns out that if you dig down, you're going to find water really quick. It's called having a high water table. Yeah, you dig down, you find water when you're near this big thing that has a lot of water in it. Weird, huh? So my guess here is what they're doing here is if they couldn't go up with it like 39A, 39B, LC36, if they couldn't go up with it, they went down with it and made a concrete bathtub like the Twin Towers. That's my guess. Now, don't get me wrong. The Twin Towers is not the only building that does that. That was cutting edge for when the Twin Towers were built. All right. Because it's a passive system. That means you don't have to pump water out all the time. A lot of buildings use that nowadays. That are any skyscrapers that are near water, you most likely have to deal with that. So serious, I know those plugs are there when they did the original excavation. Like if you go back and look at pictures, you could see those underpinnings, flyover thingamajiggers. What are they called? Tiebacks, maybe? Yeah, the tiebacks are there to make sure the walls don't cave in on each other. That's why they're there. And it holds everything in position. Sorry, I should have clarified that. So like if you make this concrete bathtub, right? The water, the hydraulic pressure is going to want to push the walls in. Those tiebacks basically make the walls want to go out, right? So they push up against the water. And the more the water pushes on it, the more that plug is going to make the thing want to push out. They'll put geotextile to block off the water. Probably that too, Ramadino. Yeah, absolutely. Anything that you could deal with, because dude, the ocean is right there. It's like, it's right over there. Like if they zoom this picture out enough, you could probably see it. They're actually called the soil nails. Yeah. Yeah, Aqualux, I didn't know the dang name of it. That looks right. Yeah. Yeah, there. That's a good picture, Joe, during construction. Thank you. See? There they are. Damn, dude. Look at that thing. Man. What a beast. But yeah, seriously, I think that's what they're doing here. That tube is path. Yeah. That's cool. There's a cool episode of Grand Designs where they basically build a concrete bathtub inside another one. So the house in a flood-prone area can float. That's super cool, man. Keep in mind that sand is porous and not an effective soil to resist water penetration. That's right, friend. Yep. Some stuff to consider. Did you do that for your collapsing retaining wall? Believe it or not, Golden Goose, I've only cleared the brush around the collapsed retaining wall. I fixed some drainage around the house with the excavator, cleared all the brush, and I haven't filled it back in yet. But I did pack topsoil. I cleared topsoil around the garage and packed it with fill around the garage, so it's not going nowhere. Yeah, that's good. I also learned a lot about topsoil and what it is and why you don't use that and why you don't build on it. One of my buddies came over that helped me over the weekend is an industrial geologist, and he was like, "Yeah, we got to clear the topsoil." I'm like, "Why? What? I know topsoil needs to be cleared. I never understood why." So I got a free lesson on what topsoil and fill is and like getting to bedrock and all that and why you do all that stuff. It's actually super interesting. If you really want to know, guys, topsoil has decaying plant matter in it. That's what makes it unstable to build on. It makes it really good for farming, though. You can grow stuff in topsoil. You can't grow stuff in fill. Like that's not a thing. You can't grow stuff down there because there's no microbes, right? It's like Martian dirt down there. They're usually a different color. Topsoil is usually like dark. Fill is usually like, it's lighter. It's kind of a clay color almost. Keep in mind, this is a composition of New England soil. Your mileage may vary depending on where you're from. But like, see all this dark stuff right there, this muddy looking stuff? That's topsoil. But see how everything down here is brighter colors? That's fill. Big difference. You have to scrape topsoil off. No matter where you're building, you have to build on terra firma. Fill dirt is terra firma. Yeah, super cool. Can you do a French drain? Don't worry, I got it under control. Yeah, Phil Dirt is, dude. Freaking geologist, man. Industrial geologist, like, not like, oh, this rock is pretty cool. Like, no, you can't build on topsoil. If you do, it'll fall into the swamp. Like, yeah, all right, that's my boy. That's my boy right there. Topsoil is not a firma. That's right. You're supposed to go below the frost line, 42 inches in mass for any new footings. That's right, C-Mac. How'd you know that? Hey, Triton's 56-month resub. Thank you. How'd you know that? How'd you know that? That's weird. There's actually a YouTube channel called Dirt Perfect that is a small earth moving company that talks about all this often. It's super cool. You're a contractor in mass? All right. Right on, man. My home state, man. Dude, I got down to Phil with the excavator over the weekend just to see where it was. It's not that far off. It's not that far off. We got down to Phil Dirt. Actually, I don't know. I'd say the fill was probably like 2 feet down, just in this particular part. Like, yeah, but it's there. We dug it out. I dug it out. I saw it. I'm like, oh man! Like, we dug a hole in the ground with the excavator because we were pulling a stump out, right? And you could see the topsoil and you could see the fill below it. And you know what, dude? That's probably like nothing to you. That's super freaking interesting to me. I'm like, oh man. Yeah, you can't build on that because that's bad. That's got all kinds of crap that's not dirt in it. Super cool.
A concrete pump was present and pumping more.
Yeah, see all this over here where all the shrubbery is? That's topsoil. Stuff doesn't grow in fill. See how there's no plants over here or anything? Stuff doesn't grow. Like, you'd get shrubberies and you'd get weeds and stuff. It doesn't grow in the fill. It only grows in the topsoil. Keep in mind, the Rio Grande Valley is a little different geological composition than New England. New England is glacial till, which is basically we live on the proverbial tread marks from a glacier that moved through here a little while ago. But I knew that. I don't know if you guys knew that. That's why the Hudson River exists. Glacial till is really annoying because there's rocks everywhere. There's just rocks. Like, you want to dig down? Oh, here, have a 500-pound rock. Have that. It's like, oh, that's great. Thanks for that. A little while ago. Shh. Mills, where's your last, dude? That glacier was a mile straight up. Yeah, it was pretty big. You want to see rocks? Come to Middle Tennessee. I'm a fan of rocks from Tennessee, Mutter. You just described my whole state. 3 feet from where in city, you can't go down 4 inches without hitting rocks. Well, Bob, Michigan is the same way. That glacier was pretty big. The Great Lakes are basically leftovers of the glacier taking stopping for a second and be like, whew, I'm tired, better keep moving south. You know? Glacial potholes, yeah. Michigan is just a gigantic glacial pothole, Source. It's very, very astute. That's a very astute observation, considering the entire state's road system could be described as potholes. You know, that makes more sense now. Yep, that makes more sense. Yep. That's why your roads have so many potholes, because Michigan is a gigantic pothole. It's science, dudes. It's science, bros. That's just how that works. Look, man, driving up 75 and you freaking hit the Grand Canyon for whatever reason. I'm like, well, okay, thanks for that. Really appreciate that, roads. I'm sure my suspension was really happy with that. Less roads and more pothole edges. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Concrete
All right.
into the flame trench. You can also see the giant gantry on one side of the pad that is being built up and the pipes being laid.
Yeah, see, that's where those buckets are going to sit up against. They're sitting up against that huge, beefy freaking truss, dude. Look at the size of that beam. Oh my goodness. The thing is freaking huge. Also, shameless plug for the Liebherr 11,000. Guys, look at the concrete truck. Look at the cement mixer compared to the damn crane. That crane is freaking gigantic. Like, bruh. The track is as big as the damn truck. You ever seen Shotcrete? No. Oh, this stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. It's like spraying, you spray concrete like a fire hose. It's cool. Bruh. Here, how's this for your bruh counter? Bruh. Bruh. You can even spray it on the roof. Nice. Those beams remind you of Satisfactory. They so do, dude. You're totally not wrong. Booster 17 is coming back outside. Oh yeah, it's poking its head out. I'm just looking around to see if I see any more goodies in there. You guys saying that the RGV pictures have some sumps. There's definitely sumps down there. Like, they're definitely getting water intrusion, but it won't in the final design.
Giant pad with fuel and water later. In general, the giant cryo trench has been constructed as well, although it seems that it still has a good amount of space for more pipes to be placed there. Especially a bit more away from the pad, next to the tower, you can see that the cryo trench is still mostly empty. Speaking of pipes, some of the green deluge pipes that will supply the flame bucket with deluge water for static fires and launches were also visible. Further up on the tank farm, you can see that the green pipe hasn't been hooked up to anything yet and is missing pieces in multiple places around the tank farm. But there's other pieces laying around that might fill in these gaps.
Yeah, they're right there. See them on the trailer? Just saying. One of the biggest challenges of building the Verge in Dubai was getting concrete 2,800 feet up in the air. Yeah, Goalie, she's a beast, man. It's a beast. That is the water storage for Pad B, so it's not shared. Oh yeah, Milge, I guess you're right. Yeah. It must have slipped my mind, dude. But what, then again, what is this? What is this thing right here? See that trench that's underneath the ground right there? What is that? Maybe they, once again, EJ's wild theory, maybe they can move water in between pads? Or common source it. Yeah. See, dude, you're definitely right. I'm believing my eyes. Like, look, it's right there. It's definitely different. The fueling trench? Yeah, maybe.
This is plumbing on a truly
massive scale. Yeah, that's right. It is. See? Look. Maybe it was the fueling system that I was getting confused. Perhaps. I don't know. It's been a weird week already. Because those are definitely, see the pipes in there? The pipes go over here. There's another expansion joint over there, and then they go down over here. Do the fueling pipes go underneath the water? They do. The commodity lines go underneath the water. Yeah, forgive me, guys. I was wrong. The commodity lines are the ones that shared. The water is not. And it goes under the water.
To the side of the trench, you can see that wall segments inside of the trenches were already installed, and the hole in the middle where the flame buckets will set down on is placed as well. If you look into it from the other angle, we can see another concrete truck preparing the wall for the tower side, as there is a form present there for the giant concrete wall. You can see the two giant holes in that wall, which could hook up to the deluge pipes if you compare that to where the green pipes come out of the wall. Overall, the concrete that you can see here will not be exposed in any shape or form to the fire of 33 Raptor engines. Based on the frames and the points to place the flame bucket along the floor of the trench will seemingly transition to steel plates without exposing any of its concrete. Now let's take a look at the Pad B tank farm.
Interesting.
We have a much greater understanding of how commodities will flow and what subcoolers will be used for what. To start off, you may be asking how SpaceX splits the main LOX line so that 5 pumps are for the booster and 4 are for the ship, while maintaining an adequate flow rate. Well, right here, the main LOX supply line splits in 2, with the top part going to the booster pumps
We'll figure it out,
and
Bob.
the bottom split going to the ship pumps. Once split, these then go to their respective pumps by going up and through a valve and a basket strainer.
Does anybody else look at this and see a circuit board like a PCB, or is it just me?
Unlike Pad A, SpaceX has opted to use a basket strainer or filter
9
at each
pumps,
pump, and
dude.
not just one at the main inlet and one at the
What
return line.
the
Once through the
heck?
pumps, the LOX will then hit these manifolds here, 5 pumps hooked up to the booster manifold, and 4 pumps hooked up to the ship manifold. After getting pumped from the tanks and into these manifolds, the LOX then goes into these subcoolers. This is where it can get a little bit tricky to understand where everything is going. So for the sake of the video, we'll just say that they go through the subcoolers in these lines and then out along the pipe rack, which will then hook into the cryo trench. Once there, the LOX and eventually the methane, which hasn't even been built yet, will split between the gantry and the tower. It's going to be really interesting to see SpaceX test all of this equipment once it's in place. It was really fun to see that at Pad A
Sure,
when they
Nick.
installed the flame diverter there, so hopefully we get treated to a similar fun
Right
time
passing?
with this new arrangement. The question becomes
Dude.
if SpaceX will test with the launch mount already in place, or will we be treated to tests with an open deck where we just get to see the whole system firing through the pipes. That would be cool. Later in the week, just hours after we flew, we saw what we expected based on pictures from that flight. The flame bucket started to roll out to the launch site. SpaceX wasted no time once it arrived either, getting it lifted and placed inside the flame trench.
Wow.
Now that that's done, teams can continue to prepare the
Look,
flame trench for
look.
the installation
Holy
of the launch
crap.
mount, which will be installed.
Look at that. Now that's a lift. Dude, you just saw how big that thing is? Look, the thing's freaking huge.
Wasted no time once it arrived either.
Look at it next to the freaking car.
Getting it lifted and placed inside the flame trench.
I don't,
Now that
Kuro.
that's done, teams can continue
Dude.
to prepare the flame trench for the installation of the orbital launch
Holy
mount, which will be
shnikes.
installed on top of it to support the booster during
Whoa.
launch. If you compare
Dude,
the
I would
hardware
have loved
versus
to
Pad
seen
1,
that.
it is quite a change in terms of how much work and infrastructure is being placed here. And of course, the flame trench is a huge installation versus the much smaller deluge plate on.
Yeah, see, water system for B is over there. Water system for A is over there. And your Pad A pumps and subcoolers are over here. Pad B pumps and subcoolers are over here. It's one singular tank farm that can go left and right. That's what it was, guys. I apologize. I don't know why I said that the water was shared. It's definitely not. Is that about the size of a 12-meter Starship in the future? It could definitely handle a wider diameter Sea Kraken. Yeah, sure. I don't know if that'll ever happen. Look at the tank size for the water as well. Yeah. They're pushing a lot more water with this. And you're going to catch rockets right next to that. Right next to all that. Confident, yeah. I mean, they've already done it, Tim. I've seen them do it, dude. The rockets for Pad B, though, are going to come in this way. They're going to fly out over here and then turn in that way at the last second. Because that pad is 90 degrees off. I still firmly believe that they made this pad 90 degrees off center because of crosswinds, so the booster could land into a headwind. Think about it. You know, the booster, you know, it uses its grid fins. Super Heavy uses its grid fins. Fly like, you know, this is exaggerated, but fly like, boost back over here and then turn into a headwind, right? And that'll help slow it down more if it's in the headwind. That just a firm theory. Like, think about it like runways facing in different directions. Same idea. Only if both pads are empty. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Mutter, for sure. Makes sense to have multiple approaches like an airport. Yeah. I mean, Mutter, I have a feeling that this might not be the only two pads that we'll see here at Boca in the future, but I think after this pad is finished, SpaceX is going ham on 39A.
On Pad A, it'll be very interesting to see how this affects the plume and smoke dynamics during a liftoff.
Roundabout! Look at the roundabout! They've made a roundabout that doesn't do anything, but it's round.
And maybe, even maybe,
See the
it'll just
ocean?
help photographers take better pictures.
Maybe. Also, there's the old railroad tracks right there. See the track turn this way. Well, at one point it turned that way. Doesn't know more. But see what I mean? See how close they are to the ocean? Yeah. Turns out when you dig down near water, you find water. I know. This is also an estuary over here. So, it's got that going for it, which is nice. Delivering methane via train would be awesome. Hirok, I don't think they're going to deliver it via train, to be 100% honest with you. If they zoom this camera out even more, if you went probably, I'd say 2 to 3 miles that way. So this camera is looking due south. If you went 2 to 3 miles northwest of here, there's a gigantic LNG fueling terminal. A fueling terminal that has a pipeline coming from the oil fields. I honestly think that SpaceX is potentially sitting on a unlimited tap of methane. Now, whether they bring it in via train or whether it's just a direct pipe, I don't know. They could pipe it. The problem is they'd have to pipe it around the port of Brownsville. Or pipe it underneath the Brownsville channel. I don't see that happening. I mean, maybe? I don't know what it would take to put a liquid methane line underneath a deep water channel. So trains might be a viable option here. So Starship is Earth pressure fed. Oh, yeah. Most land in Texas is an unlimited source of natural gas. Just got to install the tap. Yeah. If you turn the new pad design 90 degrees and place it on pad 1, the flame will directly hit the tank farm. The flame trench. Yeah, the trench for this pad would be going this way. No, it'd be 90 degrees, so it'd be going that way. Like, it would shoot off right into your subcoolers over here. And, Baron, that's part of the reason why I think Pad A is just going to stay the way it is. I think they'll make modifications to the donut, and I don't think they'll do that to Pad A. Personal theory. Methalox and LNG are different. Scout rockets.
Over at the tank farm, there is a ton of progress dedicated to improvements for Pad B. We see more subcoolers, cryopumps, vaporizers, and more being installed day by day. And of course, this is very visible during our flyover. You can also see the power bunkers being stored to the side of the road behind the wall as SpaceX is preparing an upgrade of the power and electrical systems at the launch site. The Deluge tank farm for Pad B has a slew of tanks installed, and it seems it's mostly complete from what we can tell. At least, we cannot see any further stands that are placed to support any future tanks.
Yeah.
yet. We can even get a good clue of how many of the new LOX pumps and valve skids are being used for each side of the infrastructure. On the methane side, the work is still a bit behind, with the pumps just now going up. But one can expect a very similar setup and a split for the methane side versus the LOX side. SpaceX is also working on hooking up their new methane tanks, and it seems like they might soon be fully integrated into the tank farm once the hookup is fully complete. This will help to increase the overall capacity of the tank farm a whole bunch. In things we don't like, the concrete wall is going up more and more west, and we can see...
At this point, just tell me Scout and I'll stop talking. Well, Sea Kraken, yeah, I understand that liquefied natural gas is different than methane, or liquid methane. I understand. Liquefied natural gas is like 80% methane. So if they have LNG, like right across the port, they could probably figure out how to deal with that little extra bit of propane and butane that's in it. You could probably refine it. That's really not a big deal. LNG is mostly methane.
SpaceX is not done
SpaceX for the horde,
as more of the frame is visible even more to the west. I'll go on the record that I don't like more walls being built, but hey, it's SpaceX, it's their property, they can do what they want with it. Before we move on to Pad A, let's look at the construction going on at the new Starbase roundabout. For people who missed it, this will allow cars to easily turn around at the end of Highway 4 without driving on the beach. This has caused a lot of cars to get stuck at the end of the highway in the sand over the years. Plus,
it's really, 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 really annoying when somebody in a Camry is like, oh, I'll go drive on the beach, and you're trying to set up cameras really quickly because you're on a tight schedule to keep, and somebody's like, oh, I'll just, it'll be fine, I'll go drive it on the beach. Nope, and get stuck like right there.
Plus, it'll make it easier for the big 18-wheelers in the tank farm to turn around. They don't have to do like a crazy million-point turn like Austin Powers. Half the roundabout is basically done, and work on the other half looks like it's progressing smoothly, so this thing should be done before we know it. Let's bring our attention now to the next flight. Looking at Pad A, we can see that the booster...
Aqualex, you're saying the equipment to purify methane from LNG is the same as the air liquefaction plant. That's what I mean, dude. All the signs are there. They're basically going to be sitting on an unlimited tap. And then if you put an air separator in, that's it.
Is gone. Booster 14-2, after its successful static fire, was removed from the launch mount. This is all very much expected. Boosters usually undergo some final inspections of the engines, installation of the hot staging ring, and a bunch more, and that's all easier to do at the production site instead.
Oh, look, see all the cranes over there? What if I told you that each one of those, see all those cranes back there? What if I told you that each one of those is one of those? You see the Liebherr 11,000? See all those little spikes on the horizon? All of those are one of those. That's the LNG terminal, guys. They have, like I said, there's probably, I think the last time I was there, I counted like 33 Liebherr 11,000s, 3 tower cranes, and 20 plus telescoping cranes. So telescoping cranes are one of these guys. There was like 30 of those, 20 of those, 3 tower cranes. See them all over there? Yeah. Every one of those things is like a Liebherr 11,000. It's a flock of cranes. It'll blow your mind if you see it. You're like, what are they? They're building something big there. That's the LNG terminal. It's right there.
Instead of here at the launch site. Furthermore, it frees up the launch mount for its needed inspections and refurbishment ahead of flight. Regarding Ship 35, it seems that the ship has received its aft flaps. You know why that's so important? Well, because on previous ships, it's gotten its aft flaps around the same time as its engines. The rollout for static fire has then happened a few days later. Indeed, on Saturday, we saw at least one Raptor being moved to Mega Bay 2, so hopefully Ship 35 rollout and static fire will be happening soon. This would then clear the hardware readiness hurdle for Flight 9, which should be the final milestone for a return to flight of Starship in May. Yes, most likely May. The chance of Starship flying in April is basically zero at this point, but hey, I could always be wrong. Let's move on to some other Starship items at the Space Coast and McGregor. By the way, if you really like flyovers, then make sure to stay tuned to this channel later in the week. We have a flyover of the Bay as well. In fact, our Cape team flew on the same day as Caesar and I flew over Boca Chica.
Giga
So
Bay!
NSF had 2 aircraft in the air at the same moment, capturing the progress of Starship and other spaceflight programs all around the United States. This update also features quite a significant update on the 39A launch mount, which helps us understand the launch mount here in Boca Chica quite a bit better as well. So again...
Oh. Hey, nice crane. Telescoping roller. Pretty good. Pretty good. Not running a lot of counterweight. The guy piloting or operating this might be a little bit of a softie. Doesn't have a lot of counterweight. See all that? There's not a lot of counterweight.
Again, if you like flyovers, keep your eyes on our channel a little bit later in the week. Taking a quick peek at McGregor. Ah, my hat! Taking a quick peek at SpaceX's engine testing facility in McGregor, Texas, we saw 13 Raptor tests over the course of the week on a bunch of different stands. Some of these are old Raptor version 2s, and some are the new Raptor version 3. At least, that's what we assume. One significant event is the duration of a test on the horizontal...
Mr. Operator out here. I'll have you know, I have at least 5 hours on a mini excavator, all right? I'll have you know, pinky out, very fancy.
Firing for 460 seconds. That is a record for that particular test stand, although not a record for Raptor overall. Meanwhile, the 372-second profile, which is a profile we see quite a lot and mentioned in last week's update, speculating that it might be related to ship ascent burn testing, was tested on multiple test stands. Another profile we saw was 260 seconds. This is what we expect Raptor version 3's firing profile to be.
My uncle did.
If
All
this is the
systems.
case,
I
we
fixed
saw
it.
3 Raptor version 3 tests this week, which of course might be one engine or 3 different engines or some combination thereof. And that's it.
Cool. That was good. I actually just wanted to see that to see if, you know, Jack called it a flame bucket, and he did. So that made me pretty happy. But yeah, guys, that's Starbase update. That's from my buddies over at NSF. Go over there and support them if you could. I'll link the video up over there in Twitch and YouTube. They do that all the time. It's awesome. They're really informative, super helpful. And Jack's a very good buddy of mine. Yeah. Get back to me when you've run a tractor with over 120 acres cultivating. Bro, I move tree stumps with an excavator. Okay? Tree stumps. I have many, many hours staring at excavators. Yeah, me too. Me too. Anyway, guys, yeah, I usually end space news with Starship stuff, and I think we got all the Starship stuff. Here's a picture from RGV of basically the same things that we just saw from NSF. Man, that thing is beefy. See, Kraken, see what I was talking about? Look at all the lattice. Look at all that lattice work. Oh my goodness. That thing, dude, that thing is going to be strong. Nah, I don't... That thing's cool, but no. Look at the dense... That lattice density is ridiculous, man. They got 4 generators down there. Oh, 5 generators. For power. That's absolutely nuts. Absolutely insane, dude. Wow. Oh, the pipes in the commodities trench are definitely in position. Highway bridges do rebar every 9 inches. Yeah, the density of the lattice makes a huge difference. Look at the welds. Oh. Dude, stitch welding. Look, what the heck? You know how hard that is? Dude, you need to really be good at what you're doing to do that. That's, dude. Wow. So that's stitch welding. So he's making figure 8s. Guy's doing this. Here, let me show you. So it's over and back and over and back and over and back and over and back. That's I think that's called a stitch weld, but either way, that's insane. That's really hard. You really hard to do. You need to really know what you're doing to do a weld like that, especially on stainless, because it was TIG welded. That's ridiculous. That's what the computer looks like for this crane. Oh yeah. Only 39 feet. Meh. Little tiny crane. It's a little tiny crane. But around a tube. Yeah. The other thing, that's a good point, guys. Yeah. I figured out how much of a pain in the absolute butt it is to weld. Like, I was welding exhausts together. I welded exhausts together on my truck on stream. I learned a lot about welding. That's because I was doing a lot of things wrong, and chat let me know. So I learned a lot about welding. Yeah, welding around, like, on a rounded surface, also very difficult. So whoever did that really makes some money. That is impressive, dude. Like, look at how consistent it is. Dude, the guy was locked in. Unfreaking believable. Okay, Bob. Yep. Fact for later. What is this? The new launch pad is already designed for 10,000 tons of thrust, which is almost exactly 3 times more powerful than the Saturn V moon rocket. Yeah, that was from October. Stuff like that you also preheat before you weld. Yeah. Yeah, this pad's crazy, dude. Can you put this picture in Discord? Yeah, sure. I'll put it in the aerospace channel. There you go. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for space news. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this space and rocket review. If we just want to cap this off with a live shot of Starbase, it looks like Booster 17's coming out to play. Yep. Interesting. I don't know where that's going. Massey's probably, if I had to guess. Do you think they will try dipping the noses again on V2 Starship for cross range? Ironclad, it's hard to say, dude. I think SpaceX is just trying to get to main engine cutoff at this point. But yeah, maybe they'll try a different reentry profile. Who knows? Did you notice any slight bobbing with the booster when they roll? Yeah, they were adjusting it back and forth. What's the other stand in front of it? Comas, I'm not sure. I've never seen one of those things before. That might be the new booster test stand, but who knows? They don't have room for booster 17. Pictures from this. Yeah, that's Starship Gazer. Got it. Pretty crazy. Main engine cutoff versus main engine fall off. Yeah. Okay. And on that bombshell, it's the cryo test stand brand. Thank you. Hey, Alleviate 62-month resub. Thanks, dude. Hope you guys enjoyed this space news. We could I'm trying to think what we should do. Team Beaver. Last? I don't remember that being a game. Off topic. What's new? How many degrees of freedom did the... Off topic. What's new? How many degrees of freedom does the Shuttle Canadarm have? It depends on the axis. Beam has new rally racing modes. Yeah, but that means I gotta go get the racing rig out. I don't want to do that. Workers, there was this just that was that for just the first stream. We hit a really good spot in Workers, Dr. Gnome, so I kind of want to keep going. You could play Halo 2 Legendary for after hours. No, I'm good, thanks. MSC. Oh, nice. Somebody else asked about MSC for after hours. Sea Kraken, that was weird. Yeah, now you don't get it tomorrow. Oh well. Whammy. Show the Russells in the car. Well, I was going to do that tomorrow morning. Booster 17 can't fit inside the high bay. All stands are full. Booster 14 is inside, ready for Flight 9. And Booster 15 is also inside being prepped for Flight 10. Get a smoothie? No. Good, we didn't want MSC anyways. Okay, cool, sweet. Cool, well I won't play it then. House party for after hours? I want to finish up what we were doing in Workers, so I'm just going to jog the YouTube stream. Thank you for watching Space News. We'll be back. We'll play Workers for a little bit. Schedule 1. I'll play Schedule 1 sometime soon. All right. I'll be back in a second.